base of this shit is love ever healthy?
Is it?
Like I said in the beginning, I think love is healthy when it's going good.
So it's just healthy when you don't see the negative effects of it yet. That's basically what you said. So it's never healthy, man. It's not.
But
It's a risk. It's like gambling. It's a ride that you know most likely you're gonna lose, but it's a fun ride.
I think I look at it like food. You know what I'm saying? You love what you people like what they eat.
You mean like junk food?
No, just like majority of people's food, because the majority of people in this country don't just eat junk food.
No, I'm saying if you're gonna compare love to food.
Oh, okay.
It gotta be junk food.
Okay, junk food. You know what I'm saying? Junk food or just, overindulging.
It's good, it's delicious, but deep down, it's not the wisest choice.
Yeah.
But it's nourishing,
right.
Feeling.
But
makes you feel.
But now
good.
I go think like you was talking about when we was talking about the episode about what is that, the eat documentary or whatever, what the hell.
Mm-hmm.
We was talking about what the hell is like. When you watch that, did you feel better or whatever?
I ain't never watched it.
No, but I'm saying you were saying
yeah.
no, because now you can't eat it within the same enjoyment. I feel like that's kind of how love is too. It's like you can't really go into love like, oh well, this is kind of gonna be stupid possibly. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of one of those things that is worth the risk of enjoyment because what you get out of it.
What makes it worth the risk?
The feeling of what you get when it's going good. It's like a euphoria. It's like a fucking a different type of high. You know what I mean? That you can't get nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? And it's rare. So it's like it's like finding a good ass drug that don't come around often. You know what I'm saying? So when you see it and you start feeling it, you eat it up. You know what I mean? Regardless of the consequences, because it just feels good.
You hear how illogical this sounds?
It's not logical at all.
That's why it's hard.
But the question you just asked was like, when is it good? I'm just saying that's the point that you place it.
It's good when it's going good.
It's good when it's good. It's
See, that's dangerous as hell. That's just like the pregnancy shit we was talking about. Like when before she's actually pregnant, it feel great all the way up to it. Like not pulling out all that shit. That shit gravy until she's like, I'm pregnant. Then you like, fuck.
Right.
Cause in the moment we all done did that. We all done busted something and be like, I don't give a fuck. And then afterwards be like, plan B. Or you just gotta wait till she get her period and you just stressed out like everything.
I haven't done that.
I ain't better than nobody like who done had.
I'm not saying I'm better than nobody from doing that. I just never done that before. I haven't been that comfortable enough when to be like.
You ain't never loved nobody real?
What? I've been in love plenty times.
But it didn't override your logic.
Not enough to just be like, oh man, I love you. I'm about to just come inside and create a family right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why?
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I think it's just more so like a physical thing. Like, I think that has having to do with just having more, not even just logic than the next person, because I think the next nigga knows that too. But I just think I just have more willpower when it comes to actually being in the act of sex. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that has to do with just willpower and just remembering what everything's all about. Because my thing is, if you're really making love with somebody and you're actually trying to be passionate with them and stuff like that, like, and this is really somebody that you say you love, like I would think that all the things of the moment and her and what she looks like and just everything is just running through your mind like simultaneously while having sex. So I would feel like it would still pull you back to some level of fucking logic of but most people, they can't really break that feeling of when they're in the middle of sex, because you just think about that nut, like because as soon as you bust, you're like, that was stupid. Yeah, and it had nothing to do with
after nut logic,
and it had nothing to do with love. It was literally just that physical sensation of that pleasure. And that's the part that gets people, is that's why it's hard to compare having a baby with that, because having sex is like a whole nother addictive feeling, you know what I mean, outside of just love. So it's like, it's hard to just use that, because it's kind of like, it's like lot of people who come inside somebody is not necessarily because they love them, just because they just couldn't get out. You know what I'm saying? They just was like, this shit just feels so motherfucking good. I don't give a fuck.
Niggas said, fuck it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, now of course there's some out there who probably just opening up and relaxing and being comfortable with their partner, and then maybe let the partner like, I love you, I'm gonna take care of the baby if you do get it, and you might have that type of situation. But if that person's really saying that without no intent of doing that, that person probably don't love you for real. And then it's probably just pleasure speaking, which is why it's hard when you add that.
Believes it, they gotta love them.
Or they're in that emotion too. It'd be different if this happened before we had sex. Like before you had sex, like if you sitting there talking to your partner, because when I love I know this is how I know I love somebody.
Okay, talk to me.
Is when I don't think about them sexually, like to the point to where I'm like always thinking about it. That's how I know when a girl really has my heart, when it's not that she's not a sexual option, but she's just intriguing my heart and my mind so much in my spirit that sex is literally like the last thing on my mind with them. And that's how I know it's love when it's there, because I'm like, damn, like I don't even want to even see you in certain type of lights, or even the certain type of respect I have for them is just totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like for me to even sit down next to her and be talking about that and have that feeling of love, I can't even imagine like just laying her down and then just coming inside her, like, you know what I'm saying, and not being responsible. You know what I'm saying? It's just, because my thing is, if you talked about having a kid and then you went and had a kid, then I can be like, okay, it's off love, because that's what people who are married, people who really love each other in a healthy way do, is before they procreate, you know, they have these talks already, because it means a lot to both of y'all, so that's why it hasn't happened. Like when you know, when you're talking about during sex and you're saying I love you, I'm gonna keep this baby, it's different because you already in the middle of fucking. Like, it's like if you was just sitting on the couch talking about that shit, y'all would be like, hell nah.
That's the thing about emotions, they're temporary. They're only temporary. You can cry right now, be mad, and the next second, and emotions can be changed by so many things. Like, you can be sad as fuck and start running, you'll feel better. Like, just by your body being active, it'll change your emotional state. Like, there's so many ways to change your state. So anytime you talk about emotions, you talk about something that's temporary. That's my whole issue with the idea of love not being harmful. Like, for me, I look at it like gambling. It's just like, don't take the risk unless you ready to lose and you don't really care. Then you can enjoy it. Right. Then you can enjoy the ride. But when you like, let's say if I go to the casino, I got $500. Like, I don't give a fuck about this $500, win, lose, whatever. Still gonna try to play smart. Still gonna try to win. But like, if I lose it, I'm not gonna cry about the money. Like, oh Jesus, fuck, like I'm messed up. But the person who doesn't have that same mindset when they walk in that $500, like they need that $500. Those are the ones that they lose it. Now they stress. You know what I mean? It's like all week you can't stop thinking about it. Like, that's how I look at love. It's like, it's a gamble. Most likely it's not gonna, like, gamble means to lose money. Like, love, most likely you're not gonna be in love forever, to be honest. Like, if you just going by majority, society, everything I feel like any of us have seen. Like, doesn't mean like you'll lose respect or you won't be able to stay in a relationship, whatever, but like, as far as that feeling of love, that shit gonna go away.
It does, but
you know that going in, but it's worth the risk
for some people, because a lot of people out there don't kill themselves over the sake of that feeling too.
That's a personal choice, and
I know. I mean, it's a personal choice, but it happens, you know, and it happens more often than people probably think.
But that's what I mean by somebody who wasn't prepared to take the risk. That's people who kill themselves over $500. They gambling.
But my thing is you thought you was ready for the risk. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think people really be thinking they. I think they will easily lie to themselves when they're being emotional.
But my thing is, you can't, like, my thing is like, all right, my thing is no one's going to a relationship like, all right, let me slow down because I might love this motherfucker so much I might hurt myself. I don't think people go in the
I would absolutely do that.
I'm just saying, a lot of people don't.
I've done that.
A lot of people don't. What, hurt yourself?
No, I've been like, I'm gonna chill out on somebody because I'm starting to like them too much.
I'm not saying that. I'm talking about to the point. I'm saying of course everyone.
I'm never gonna hurt myself, so it's hard for me to.
But I'm just saying. But I'm saying no one's gonna. I'm saying nobody. Of course, people say, man, I need. Ooh, this happening fast. I'm starting to catch feelings, and I'm not ready for this right now. Like, of course, plenty of people do that all the time, daily. But I'm saying, like, ain't nobody going into the relationship like, let me slow down because I don't want to fall in love to the point where I just fucking might off myself. I wouldn't be that deep into it. Because you may not, because you think that you're ready for the risk. You're like, okay, I done took a break. I done did some self healing from my last relationship. I'm ready to step back in the water. I'm more secure. Like I got my box checks down. Like what type of person I really want. So when it starts getting into that point again, and you start getting involved with this person again, if that shit don't work out, you made a thought that you was going to be able to handle this again, and then you get hit hard with a feeling that you didn't think that it was going to hit you that hard. So it's kind of hard to just make it seem like, oh, I could take the risk, because it's kind of like it's not like you like I'm about to go move a fucking 5 pounds across the border, blah blah blah. Like I know that if I get caught, I get this. I know these are the risks, and this is what it's going to be. Like you can kind of really guess all that shit. I know I might go to jail and die in there. Like. You can think about all that shit. When it comes to love, like it's a little harder for you to really like measure like what type of feeling is gonna really cause you to get once you get involved.
I think you can though. I think you can actually sit down and say, okay, if I fall head over heels in love with this person, you can look at the probability of it working, like being realistic. Be like, all right, looking at the way she acts, the way I act, how many arguments we get in, how regular we argue, all these different scenarios. What's the probability of this working? All right, cool. Let's say it doesn't work. How bad is this going to affect me? It's going to depend on how close you go, and you can self-analyze constantly as y'all go closer and closer. But you can be realistic with yourself. That's the exact same as my scenario when I say like the person who's prepared to lose the money can handle it better. It's like the person who's more logical about the situation, they gonna be able to handle the outcome better because they already have they can process it better. They're not going. It's almost like
I'm gonna almost bet my life that people like that have on a comparison to a overall lifespan of love relationships. I'm almost willing to bet my life that the people who look at love like that barely really get real love.
I bet they make better love choices than anybody else.
They might make better love choices. I won't even say better love choices because those aren't based on love.
They are based on love. It's just love and logic. I don't.
Which one is it? Because you made them seem like there were two different things earlier, but now they're the same thing.
Well, I think it's majority logic, but love obviously has to be a part of it. Like anybody you deal with, it's almost like choosing who you fall in love with.
So let's say logic and love is.
I'm saying you use logic to choose who's worth the risk. It's just like you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
If I say, look, I need these 5 things for my perfect mate, and I know that. And I only deal with people with these 5 things. That's like qualifying my partner.
To a degree, it's qualifying it, but it's a whole lot more to be qualified. I feel like though.
How?
I just feel like it's a. I feel like it's just a yearly qualification thing. I just feel like it's like
like reassessing as you go. Right. I think that,
but I'm just saying. I feel like that's not as easy as just 1, 2, 3. Like I feel like
I think it's a lot easier.
I think it's easier to start off with that, and then as things change and as new found things show themselves and they reveal new parts of themselves, because people are obviously layered, and people clearly I believe it takes I think it takes at least knowing somebody, living with somebody, and being around somebody for like years to really get to know them for real.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I feel like as they continue to shed skin of who they truly are, I feel like new things continue to be revealed. And as you think new things start to get revealed, or new things or new adversity y'all face together that hasn't occurred before, and you see how they respond to that. At these points, they could have been marked all your boxes on a good standpoint, but now it wasn't until later where they start revealing the things that you don't like. And you already don't have time invested by then. So it's like, even if you do get like, okay, I'm starting to debt it now, you already done invested all that feeling, so it's still gonna hurt. You know.
My point is, because you were saying the person who has all the boxes, like you gotta check all this for being in a relationship, they probably get less love or not as good of a quality of love as the other people. This is my point.
I won't say check, go ahead.
In the scenario you described, if somebody's like, all right, I need all these boxes checked, right?
Right.
Before I fall in love, I need to at least see these things.
Yeah.
And they always qualifying people like that, and it doesn't work, like you were saying. My whole point is, at least what they did made it more likely to work. So it's like if they deal with 10 different people, but they always have these specific qualifiers, and just like you saying, self-analyzing, they change it based on what they see. So it's like I had all these things with this girl, but it didn't work. I needed this too. I'm gonna add that to the list. Like, they're qualifying who they deal with. They're always gonna have more quality love, because when they get with a person, when they finally like, oh, this is my person, it's based on actual, like, it's not just like, this is the person because they make me feel good. This is the person because they match me in all of these ways better than all of these other people, and I know this is worth the risk now. Because even if it don't work, it's almost like having a good strategy. It's like, it's still gambling, but this is a good strategy. You saying the person with no strategy is all luck anyway, so it ain't really no.
I'm not saying. Oh man, I'm trying to build an empire with a girl. Let me go marry this girl who, you know what I'm saying, make fucking $80. I mean, fucking $8 a day. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, but I'm just saying it gets to the point to where when it starts to get overrun, because sometimes when you was talking about that, I'm like, this nigga sounds like an AI. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's smart.
But you know, AIs don't have feelings.
No, I mean, obviously, see, that's the thing. I can never be AI because I have feelings.
But I'm just saying, I just feel like when it gets to the point where you're over, I mean, I agree with you gotta qualify them, but when it gets to the point where it's OD.
How's it OD?
No, not that, but I'm saying there could be.
Well, I'm saying, like, what would be like an example of OD?
I feel like when it gets when it turns into the things that's not the obvious that you should look for,
such as,
like, kids, they have, the person has children, if they're in the same vicinity, state as you, is like not dating long distance, financial, financial, career level, you know what I'm saying, maybe religion or political view, depending on who you are. I feel like certain ones like that, maybe like. And then maybe like diet and fitness or something like that. I feel like if you think about those things and you kind of base it around those things, yeah, you good money. But we start getting to the point where you just, okay, I need those things, and then on top of that, I need to know, like, if her feet look like this, if her ass like this, and is this like this, like, sexually, can they check these boxes? Like, it gets to the point to where it's like, it reminds me of that Black Mirror episode, fucking, when the motherfuckers in a simulation and they're like running simulations on. It's basically people in the simulation and they're trying to find the perfect match for the person. They just running through all these dates like simulation. They're trying to find like the perfect match, and it just starts to sound super like AI and robotic, because at that point you're not even leaning with love no more. I mean, I feel like it's a balance, but I feel like when it's like 50-50, okay, 60-70, but when it gets to the point where your love and your relationships feel like 80% logic and 20% love, is it really even love there?
No, I'm saying bring the logic before you introduce the love, because then you can love somebody for real. You gotta introduce the logic before you allow the love, because we already stated that once you love somebody, you're more so going with the flow, right? So my whole thing is, before you just go with the flow with somebody, make sure it's a good bet. So you introduce the logic, make sure they check all these boxes. Like, okay, you're good for me. You're actually good for me. Then you can take the risk of falling in love. Because once you fall in love, you're in love.
Right.
Like we were saying, once you're in love, like, most likely you probably not leaving. It's going to be hard for you to be rational about your decisions. So if you're going to take that risk, make sure it's with somebody who's an asset, who's good for you. Right. That's just smart to me. Right. I don't think that's robotic. I just think that's wise.
It is wise. I mean, that's prevents you from getting your heart broken unnecessarily.
Or at least if you're gonna get your heart broken, you're not gonna get your heart broken by a fucking loser or somebody who's like horrible for you. You get what I'm saying? At least it's like, I thought this would work. Right. Cool. Yeah. It didn't work.
No, I'm all like I said, I'm all for having having set things, like you said, the standard, so that way when you fall in, you're like, okay, it didn't work out, but I can be okay with it not working out because I didn't end up homeless. I didn't end up like fucking with all these fucked up situations. A broken heart over nonsense. You know what I mean? But
because the people that crash all the way out, who like can't handle it, usually it wasn't just because they love the person. Usually they love somebody OD hard. Like, they gave them all of them, and they didn't really like get shit for it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You get what I'm
I
saying?
agree
So
with that.
when you go ahead and qualify the person, you already guaranteed to get something from this.
Right,
you get what I'm saying?
Nah,
so now
definitely
it's like, if it don't work, it just don't work.
Yeah.
You can take it.
Yeah,
But if you deal with somebody and it's like, I took a hell of a risk even dealing with you, and then that don't work, that's when people be like, fuck.
Right.
Like, what's the point?
It's like I done moved here, I done gave up my job, I done gave up my apartment, like
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that.
And then they leave, and then they homeless in another state, and they can't get back home, and then they like,
All for the sake of love.
I'm telling you, like, love is good. I'm just saying,
Love
like,
is good, but
put it on the back end of logic.
But when is it healthy?
Never. This shit ain't never healthy. It's fun. I think love is more fun than healthy. I think that's what we fucked up. We like to act like love is it's like gambling. I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you hit this high,
Yeah.
and it's like
why has gambling been around for all eternity? Like,
because it gives people that jolt of just greatness. Like
that's life.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, man.
Qualify, man. Play the game that you get the best chances of winning. Don't play the motherfucking 1 in 100 chance. Now you might make this and double your money, but it's 1 in 100. Or you play this game, it's 50-50. Like, just play the game that got the
Game of love. It's a game of love.
Cause we both know it's bad for you.
Make sure y'all tap in, man. We here with my brother Yates, man. Drunk Tourist Podcast. You know where to find us, all social media platforms.
Sure.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like and subscribe. Drop some comments below. You know what I'm saying? So we can hear some of y'all thoughts on this thing. You know, is love healthy? When is love unhealthy? Should we just say fuck it? You know what I'm saying? And just I don't know.
Just be out here AI and this shit, man. Robotic,
Hey,
man.
you know what I'm saying? It's okay to fall in love, just like my boy Yates said. Just make sure you validate the person first.
Just qualify them.
Yeah, qualify them before you fall head over heels. That way you ain't out here going outside.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
You ain't out here fucked up feeling like you wasted your life. It's like, no, that was a good shot. It's like, hey, man, you know, it didn't work, but that was a good shot. It's different. Yeah.
We can talk this all day. Drunk Tourist Podcast. Shout out to the family.
Man. Tap in.